Hello, friends. I am so excited that you are here for the very first episode of something I have been wanting to do for a very long time, starting this podcast, The Basics of Balance. My name is Ariella. I'm going to be your host, and I am just really, first of all, grateful that you're listening. Second of all, just really excited. If I'm being perfectly honest with you, I think I'm a little bit more nervous. And full transparency, I've taken a lot of takes of this very first episode because I don't know if you can relate to this, but I am a perfectionist. And this is one of the reasons why I think it has taken me this long to just start this dream that I've been wanting to, do for quite some time, because I always feel like I have to have things perfect. You know what I mean? Having to make sure that your ducks are in the row before you take action, right? And as something I help my clients understand and see, there is no ideal time. So take your own advice, and we are just going to get this party started. So we are going to learn together. Give me a little grace, if there are some quiet moments where my brain just completely blanks or whatever the case is. But I am really excited to kind of kick this podcast off. I want this first episode to kind of just hey, this is what this show is going to be about. Letting you know a little bit about what to expect on the show. Of course, who I am. I'm pretty sure, most of you listening have no idea who I am, so that might be helpful. And, kind of just kicking things off like that. We're just going to figure things out, guys, together. So, a little bit about me. My name is Ariella. I am a certified personal trainer. I am a certified nutrition coach. I started a little company called Habit Consulting about 4 years ago. I've been a certified trainer since 2015. Ooh, I just realized that's 10 years this year. So in November, I will have been certified for 10 years. That is exciting. But I have been a trainer since 2015 in various roles. And so I wanted to start this company a few years ago because I've just really realized that there is a lot of, I don't want to say misinformation because I almost feel like that's a buzzword at this point, but there is a lot of misinformation out there, and that's one of the things I want to focus on in the show is kind of clearing that up. But I wanted to start this company because oftentimes I feel like we focus on the specifics of a health and fitness and wellness journey, right? And oftentimes, if we instead of focused on the specifics and rather focused on the basics of what a healthy and balanced lifestyle can and should look like, then we kind of remove the need to spend a lot of brain activity focusing on those specifics that are not really moving the needle. And rather if we focus on the basics, they really do move the needle. And so, as an example, oftentimes we focus on, actually, hold on. No, I had another example. So let's talk about that really quick. Focusing on basics rather than specifics, such as a hot topic right now, seed oils, food dyes, those things that are not necessarily great for us, right? I'm not going to say, hey, just ignore anytime you're eating, red food dye. Just ignore, whenever you're having seed oils and things like that. I'm not saying that necessarily, but if we were to, instead of focusing on seed oils and food dye, we focused on trying to eat less processed food in general and also trying to eat more whole food, then we are inherently reducing the amount of seed oils and food dyes that we are eating as a result of that. You see what I'm saying? So, I think that oftentimes we focus so much on the specifics instead of the basics, and we burn out because the specifics don't, like I said, really move the needle as much as if we were to focus on the basics and learn how to stay consistent with those basics. We would see, improvements not over in our quality of life, but our health, our goals, what we're all here for. And so that's kind of what I focus on with Habit Consulting, is really just trying to, drown out the noise and really zoom out and look at the big picture as it relates to, how I help my clients, reach their goals. So I offer personal training. It's app-based personal training. It's not in person, it's virtual. But I offer personal training, that's individual personal training. I have a training membership called Train With Me, which is pretty affordable. I have all of that information kind of in the caption. I also do offer nutrition coaching, which I would argue sometimes nutrition coaching is really more like life coaching. Any of my nutrition clients that might be listening right now, I'm sure you can agree. Oftentimes we are talking about, we have to talk about life as it relates to our nutritional choices because there's so much crossover there. It's not as easy to say, oh, hey, you want to lose weight? Awesome, just stay in a caloric deficit. Well, what about when you're traveling? What about when you have company in town? What about when you have things that you're celebrating? What about when you're living life? You know what I mean? So it's like, how do we find the balance between life and our goals? That's kind of like the sweet spot, right? How do we stay tethered to structure that keeps us moving forward in our goals, but also let's not forget that you are more than just your goals. You are not a robot. You are a human, right? And so that's a little bit about what I focus on with Habit Consulting. I am a solopreneur. And so I wear lots of hats. And so that's actually one of the reasons why I realized there is no better time to start this podcast than right now because, I think that oftentimes I do this a lot. I feel like I need to have all of my ducks in a row before I start something, right? Can you relate? And that is rarely reality. Oftentimes we just need to do our best. We just need to start something and do our best in that and learn as we go, improve as we go. I help my clients understand that. So, hey, take your own advice. Easier said than done. And so I wanted to kind of start this show. It's been a dream of mine for a while, really just to offer more of an opportunity to have like longer conversations regarding basics and health and wellness and things like that. But because I'm a solopreneur, and like I said, I wear many hats, it's very easy to get stuck on, I need to advertise. And then because I need to advertise, that advertisement needs to check all of these boxes, right? Or at least that's how I feel. It's a lot of pressure, right? And, I feel like sometimes, we spend time trying to check those boxes of what the algorithm likes and stuff like that. And we get lost and forget, hey, I am a trainer. I am a nutrition coach. And so I'm really wanting to start this podcast to kind of just focus on that. Focus on why I started, Habit Consulting, why I got into training and nutrition coaching and things like that, to be able to kind of just, just do just that. So all that to say, I think that this is going to be helpful not only to kind of, help spread the word on a lot of the misinformation and focus on basics and things like that. But also, selfishly speaking, it's going to really help me check a lot of boxes with one stone. So let's see. What else do I need to talk about with myself to kind of lay the framework? I also hate talking about myself. I'm just going to be completely honest with you. I feel like, and I know that a lot of people don't share this sentiment, but I feel like talking about myself, it's like, okay, can we talk about anything else? But I'm well aware that we're here to grow, people, okay? We are here to grow together. Okay, let's back up for a second. I've been a trainer for apparently almost 10 years, nutrition coach, started Habit Consulting. I am from the, I guess you can call it Chicagoland area, a little town called Kenosha, Wisconsin. That is where I wasn't born, but raised for a lot of my years. I met my husband, well, he was my boyfriend at the time, but now husband there. We met in 7th grade. I am 36, I believe. So we met in 7th grade. We actually just celebrated 20 years together when we were in Thailand over the summer last year. So we've been together for a long time. I've lived everywhere in between Milwaukee and the Chicagoland area. That's where my family is from. So like when I go home, I go to Evanston, Grays Lake, So if you're familiar with the Chicagoland area, heyo, let's chat. But my husband and I, we were living in Milwaukee for quite some time. That's where we got married. That's where we went to college. And we just, we just wanted to change. When you grow up in the same area, you kind of just want to see if there's anything else out there. Is the grass really greener? We are also really outdoors people in the Midwest, although it is wonderful. It just is not conducive to being outside the majority of the year because it's kind of cold. And so we wanted to come down here and just kind of, see how we liked it. We told ourselves we'd be here for 2 years, and we just celebrated 9 years in Nashville. So I guess it's been a little longer than that. And so, coming to Nashville, my background is in legal. I was in legal for quite some time, and Nashville was kind of like the kickoff to transitioning out of the corporate world, out of legal into, training, and that morphed into nutrition because they are related, and started having consulting, and here I am. I kind of got started with my health and my fitness journey myself with, like most females in college, chasing my smallest self, wanting to do the boot camps, wanting to intermittent fast. What was that one diet? I forget the name. Oh, the Master Cleanse. Did anybody here do the Master Cleanse? It had to be grade B maple syrup, because apparently grade A isn't good enough. But grade B maple syrup, organic lemon juice, and cayenne pepper. And I think you had to drink that like every day. You could have cabbage soup like once a day. I don't know. Point being is, I come from a long background of extreme diets, following fads, trying to chase my smallest self because, I was assuming the smaller I was, like the skinnier I was, the more popular I'd be. I'm a people pleaser by heart, so that was a big motivating factor for me. And I think that through chasing a lot of extremes, intermittent fasting, like I said, lots of boot camps, lots of just like, no pain, no gain kind of mentality. How many calories can I burn when I work out? That created some health issues in my college life. That created some digestive issues. And I was eventually diagnosed with IBS-C. There's IBS-A, IBS-C, and IBS-D. I had IBS-C. And then through that experience, I started learning a little bit more about nutrition. I started learning a little bit more about, I binge because I restrict, and I've kind of thrown off my whole entire equilibrium, if you will, because of such a long history of extreme restriction followed by extreme binges, right? I'm getting all these injuries because I just keep running to burn these calories, and I'm not doing any strength training. And then you start getting curious about strength training. What does that look like? I started following a company called Body Rock. I think they started on YouTube. But I started, working out with them. It was HIIT, high intensity interval training, but they combined resistance training. They combined weights, and that is kind of how my love of weights started. I realized the challenge of increasing your weight over time was so rewarding. It was so fulfilling, a lot more than just no pain, no gain. It doesn't matter how tired you are, wake up and burn calories. You know what I mean? And if you don't know what I mean, hey, I'm glad you're here because we're going to get into that. So anyways, all of that to say, it was kind of a natural evolution into kind of focusing on nutrition, realizing how your nutrition impacts your energy, your digestion, your mental health. Man, my anxiety and my depression really started in college. And, it affects your exercise, right? If you're not eating a whole lot, well then you're not going to get stronger. You know what I mean? And if you're starting to lift weights, hey, you want to get stronger. So it's like, it was kind of a natural evolution into strength training, resistance training, and focusing on, hey, what am I eating, and what I'm eating is affecting how I feel and also, my health, right? And so, over the years, I still practice things like intermittent fasting, but I also started learning about macronutrients, and realized not all calories are created equal. And wow, okay, even if I am chasing my smallest self, if I also have enough protein, wow, I can really control how much I'm eating a lot better because I'm more satisfied when I have protein. And hey, when I have protein, I feel a lot stronger in the gym. So, I started dabbling in macros while still kind of, in my background of intermittent fasting and things like that. started training for a boot camp company, and I absolutely loved training for that company. It was very cardio-based type exercise, but throughout my time, I used to do this thing called Meathead Monday. So I was like trying to like slow things down a little bit, you know what I mean, and focus more on resistance training versus strength training. But anyways, all that to say, it was kind of a long evolution of, personal journey, kind of morphed into professional journey. And because of my experience in realizing, hey, what you eat matters. What you eat affects not only your physical results, but also your health and your overall quality of life and things like that. I almost felt like I found this secret, but it wasn't really a secret. It was just new to me. Realizing that focusing on the basics of eating a well-balanced diet, making sure you're getting, adequate sleep, making sure you're hydrated, making sure you're staying active, but also rest days. All of those things really started to shift how I saw exercise and nutrition, and really shift how I looked at my body. I didn't work out of punishment anymore. I didn't eat I didn't feel guilty for eating certain foods anymore, And ironically, that kind of shift in instead of how small can I get, how strong can I get, actually ended up helping me see those physical results that I was after in college. So that is a huge reason on why I really like to focus on those basics of living a healthy and balanced lifestyle, because not only is that going to help you achieve your physical goals that I know a lot of females have, but it's also not going to sacrifice your health at the end of the day, and it's sustainable, and it fosters a healthy relationship with food, exercise, and your body. And so I think that's important. I think oftentimes we look at getting healthy as a burden. I have to give up my favorite foods. And it's like, no, you don't. You genuinely do not. You might not be able to eat all of your favorite foods. We might have to learn how to practice restraint. But also, when your body is healthy and supported, it's easier to practice restraint because your hormones are not all over the place, right? Your blood sugar is not all over the place. So all that to say, again, focusing on the basics makes it easier for you to kind of live that healthy and balanced lifestyle, and also feel empowered at the end of the day, feeling like you know how to stay in control. You got a plan, right? And so that is kind of, a little bit about me, my background, and also kind of what you're going to hear a lot on this show. I am not a person with extremes. I think that there is a gray, happy medium between all or nothing. And when we can live in that gray matter in between all or nothing, that's actually when we're going to be able to sustain those habits, actions, intentions, whatever you want to call it, right? And so, yeah, that's a little bit about me. When I'm not coaching, I don't know if I have any hobbies. I'm not going to lie. If I'm not coaching, I love just being outside, like being on the water, and moving to Nashville. We have been able to, be outside is a lot more than we were, living in the Midwest. And so being by the water, whether it's on my paddleboard, we got a boat a couple of years ago, it doesn't really matter, even if it's floating the river. I just love being by water. There's something so peaceful about it. So being on the water is amazing. I love, just being outside in sunshine, fresh air, being by nature. It really just helps, just makes things good. It makes life good. Happiness. And so, yeah, that's a little bit about me. So that's also what you can expect on this show. I will say I want this show to be not only a way for me to help you, learn, like I said, how to find that balance between life and goals, right? How to focus on those basics to not only see the changes you want to see, but feel the changes you want to feel also at the same time. But I also want this to be a two-way street, if you will. Okay, so in the description, I have my contact information. I genuinely want to hear from you. I genuinely, do you have a question you want me to answer on this show? I would love nothing more. Like, I could talk about health and fitness all day because of how it has positively impacted my life, because of how it has positively impacted others. And so I could genuinely talk about this all day long. Which is one of the reasons why I'm starting this, because Instagram captions and algorithms just don't get it, guys. They just don't get it. Sometimes we gotta have more than 140 characters to our thoughts. You know what I mean? Stop limiting us. Stop putting us in a box. But yeah, if you have a question you want me to answer, almost like free coaching. You know what I mean? Like, I would love that, because I feel like oftentimes when one person has a question, many have that same question, but many are they feel like their question isn't important enough, or maybe they're scared to ask it, or they think it's stupid, or whatever the case is. And I'm here to tell you, there are so many variables as it relates to health and fitness, mindset, logistics, intentions, things like that, that there are no stupid questions. Like the more that we can talk about, how we can find that balance, the more it is going to, in my opinion, kind of trigger other questions like, oh yeah, but I went out to eat, and how do I handle that? Oh yeah, but I traveled, and how do I handle that? And that's kind of just like learning as you go, right? Kind of what I'm doing here. We're just figuring this out. There's probably going to be a lot of mistakes, you know what I mean? But hey, that is part of the process. Mistakes are not failures. I'm really big on saying that, mistakes are lessons in disguise, and we learn from those, right? We know better in the future next time. So would love to kind of grow together. If you have any questions, if you have a topic that you want me to cover, right? So say you saw something online and you're like, hey, I heard something about this. What do you think about that? Let's talk about it. Let's chat. Let's have that conversation. And if you want to collaborate too, if you want to be on the show, or, maybe you're another trainer, nutrition coach, or something similar or not, let's collaborate. Okay. So would love for this to kind of just be a two-way street. Again, I can talk about this, I can talk about this stuff all day, every day, but I want this to be helpful for you who are listening. And so I know that, sometimes I might think something's helpful, but maybe it's not. So you just let me know. All right. But, I'm excited to kind of kick things off. That's a little bit about what to expect. And yeah, could probably expect, a few episodes a month, and we're just going to see how this goes, and we're just going to figure this out together. But I'm really excited. Thank you so much for listening. I'm sure I forgot something, so you'll have to stay tuned for the next episode for me to say what I forgot to say. But let's keep this short, sweet, and to the point. And thanks for listening. If you have some time, I would love it if you were to comment, rate the show. Any little bit of support helps, especially for those that know all of the hats that we wear as solo entrepreneurs. So have a good rest of your day, guys. Until next time.